And the way Wish that I could stay. 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 Wish for this moment to never go away. But it's all in my mind. And though I know that there is nothing to find, you're a beautiful sight in the summer night. And you can't put up a fight in the misty light. Wish that I could stay. Wish for this moment to never go away. But it's all in my mind. And though I know that there is nothing to find, you're a beautiful sight in the summer night. And you can't put up a fight in the misty light. Streets all alone, and all you can see, thinking about what your life came to be. You're a beautiful sight in the summer night, and you can't put up a fight in the misty light.
Yep. Hello and good evening, everybody. My name is Mary Hadsel, and I'm Camelot's Executive Director. I would like to welcome you to Camelot's spring celebration, Hooves Heroes. Let me start this beautiful evening by thanking our generous sponsors and donors. Tonight, we are so honored to have the Kurt and Jerry Pindler Foundation as our title sponsor. Kurt and Jerry took their seats at the Camelot Roundtable many years ago, and their support is so greatly appreciated. I would also like to thank Ames Construction, Charles and Ann Johnson, Shirley A. Lohman, Peg Malloy, Bonnie and John Trowbridge, Tiny Ninja Books, and an anonymous donor for their generous support and for being our Hooves and Heroes sponsors. While I'm giving thanks, I want to express my deepest gratitude to our event committee. Each and every one of you plays a very important role in the success of our fundraisers. I'm so grateful to have your collective talents behind me. Thank you so very much. And to everyone joining us tonight, I want to say thank you for being here. And I also really want to encourage you to use two devices. You don't want to miss a moment switching back and forth from our event to our donation page. So grab a second phone, a tablet, or an iPad, and use that to log into camelotaz.org/hearts. That way you can watch the program, and when you feel compelled and your heartstrings tugged, you can make a tax-free contribution. Now to the fun stuff. How are we doing here at Camelot? This has indeed been a crazy year, and the pandemic is not quite behind us. But thankfully, things are moving forward and slowly returning to normal. I'm often asked how our lesson season has gone given the circumstances surrounding COVID, and I'm quick to let everyone know that here at Camelot, we've been busy, very busy. The business of dragon slaying has not slowed down even during a pandemic. In fact, we are needed now more than ever. Back in September, as we prepared for our programs to open up for this season, in preparation, we paid very close attention to the CDC so that we could ensure the safest services possible. And I also kept a close eye on other programs in our industry. I wanted to know what they were doing, who they were serving. And what I discovered was that by and large, they were open to riders that were fully ambulatory, people that needed minimal to no assistance getting on and off. And if I followed that model, very few of our students would actually be participating. So rather than that, I didn't want to be open to a select few. I decided to take advantage of our very spacious barn and have everyone available to come out for programs. Camelot's amazing and dedicated instructors became very creative, and we expanded our ground lesson activities so we could have everyone on the schedule out for their weekly lessons. We played games. We did lots of crafts. Some students rode. We enjoyed the horses and we enjoyed each other. We came together safely as a community, as a family, and the horses were truly at the center of everything. They are amazing animals. They are powerful, sensitive, gentle, and they lend us their grace, and they do it again and again. My mentor and Camelot's founder, Eileen Shahusky, she had a dream. She dreamed of a place where students of all walks of life could come together to learn the beautiful art of horsemanship. A place where everyone would be taught how to ride, given the chance to work hard, get sweaty, grab a little rein and grab a little mane, to grow in both mind, body, and spirit, to become horsemen. She envisioned a very special ranch that was barrier-free and accessible to all, where the cost of admission would be the courage to pick up those reins and slay that dragon of doubt, that little voice inside that tells you, I can't. And she passed that dream on to me. Today, 38 years after Eileen started Camelot, we are still slaying those dragons. At this time, I would like to introduce to you Hannah Briso. She is Camelot's principal riding instructor and volunteer coordinator. Hannah has been with Camelot for 11 years, where she first started out volunteering and then came on to staff in 2013. Hannah loves the outdoors. She's an avid paddleboarder. She loves hiking, and she has a super soft spot in her heart for elderly dogs that need a little extra TLC. Please enjoy this little video with Hannah.
Hi everyone, it's Hannah, and I am in the world-renowned Camelot Chicken Hilton with Jax the Therapy Bunny. For your $500 contribution, you can sponsor this lovely little guy for a year, providing his food, his bedding, toys, and taking care of all of his needs. Or if you prefer, we do have a variety of beautiful hens all around us here in the coop that are also available for your sponsorship. Thank you.
So now is the time. If you would like to sponsor Jax or one of our chickens, please go to camelotaz.org/hearts, where your tax-deductible contribution will go directly towards their care. So Hannah is not the only one at Camelot that loves goats. At this time, I would like to introduce you to Sasha Graham, our Hooves Heroes event chair. In fairness, Sasha really loves all animals and has an affinity for monkeys, horses, and cats. She is an amazing, dedicated wife and mother to her 3 children. When she's not busy homeschooling, she puts her creative talents to work writing children's books. And most recently, her book, Milo Doesn't Like Mornings, has been translated into Spanish. In addition to her love and devotion and dedication to Camelot, Sasha sits on the board for Giving Group AZ. Here is the lovely Sasha.
Thank you very much, Mary. And a point of clarification, I am currently homeschooling my children, but it is not by choice. So my name is Sasha. As she mentioned, I would like to thank everyone for the very warm welcome during our cold open. I know it's hard to tell, but Mary and I do get a tiny bit nervous before these events, and knowing that we have so many friends out there watching and cheering us on and cheering for Camelot makes all the difference and turns what could be sort of a stressful time into something that's just really fun. We have a very fun evening planned for you tonight. We will be presenting a volunteer award. We have a brand new segment called Questions for Mary. Actually, more specifically, Horse Questions for Mary. So start thinking about that. Todd Herzog will perform the beautiful Camelot anthem, Soar. And we will have a drawing for $500 in the form of a Visa gift card for one lucky winner. So while I am officially the event chair for Hooves Heroes, the virtual nature of this year's event meant that a lot of the behind-the-scenes work was done by Mr. Ray Klein and Ms. Ann Azell. And I would just like to personally thank them so much. This evening literally would not be possible without the 2 of them, so thank you both. To kick off this portion of the event, I have the honor of sharing a quick funding update. We are going into tonight with an incredible $10,500 from our generous sponsors and more than $22,000 from our Chain of Hearts campaign, bringing us to a total of $32,743 to start the evening. Now, we have set the very lofty goal of $40,000 for tonight, but we know that we can make it because you have proven time and again how generous you all are. And throughout the evening, our woman behind the scenes, Ms. Shirley Lohman, will be giving us funding updates. So this is the first Hooves Heroes where I have chaired where we have not had a silent auction. And it was a deliberate decision to not have an auction this year because so many small businesses have been hit incredibly hard by the pandemic. So even though we made this decision deliberately, it was still a difficult one because it is an element of this fundraiser that brings in a lot of money. And so in order to make up for this shortfall, or at least in hoping to make up for it, we put out the call to the Camelot community and we asked you to buy hearts. And boy, did you respond. I mean, $22,000 in donations in the form of hearts that you have dedicated to your loved ones, to your beloved animals, and that meeting room is just full of beautiful hearts. You can go ahead and purchase a heart during tonight's event at camelotaz.org/hearts at any time. If you would prefer to just make a donation, you can do it at that same place. Just click on the little yellow button up in the right-hand corner. Keep those donations coming in. Let's keep Shirley busy, bringing us updates, and I will share them with you. The cool thing tonight, too, is that if you make a donation tonight, you will receive 2 Camelot mugs in the mail. Also, if you would prefer to pledge your funds tonight and not actually make the donation online, maybe you want to give a check instead, just put it in the comments. We will reach out to you after the event and your donation will count towards tonight's total. So, as Mary mentioned, I love animals. I grew up on a farm in Oregon, as you saw, with the Easter picture holding goats, because what says Easter more than baby goats? The girl in the picture there, the blonde in the red tights, is my childhood best friend, and her name is Sarah. And Sarah had a horse named Rusty. I had a horse named Jim, and we rode those horses over the Oregon countryside like you cannot imagine. So when my husband and I moved to Arizona about 10 years ago, it was this love of horses that brought me to Camelot. But it did not take long before Michelle Guerrero, who was the volunteer coordinator at the time, recognized another one of my loves, which was event planning. And before I knew it, I was working on Starry Nights and Hooves Heroes. It really is one of the things that I love about the Camelot staff is the way that volunteers are encouraged to bring their unique skills and the things that they're able to contribute, their contributions to their volunteering. So you will see people exercising horses and mucking stalls, but you also will see them gardening and maybe even in Jenny's case, taking chickens on outings. So for me, in addition to horses and event planning, I love movies and books. I worked in the film industry for many years, and as Mary mentioned, I recently published my first children's book, and my next one will come out in September. So for the past year, like everyone else, I have been escaping through books and movies. So when it came time to plan for this year's event, I thought, what better way to tie everything together than to talk about some of the great horse movies? So I put it out on Facebook, expecting to get a handful of responses, and it was overwhelming. We love our horse books and our horse movies. And when I looked at the responses, there were a couple themes that really appeared over and over again, and I really liked them. One of them is that with enough love, every horse can be a champion. And the second one is that with enough love, every person can be a champion. So tonight we're going to talk about 3 movies in total, and we're going to start with National Velvet and The Black Stallion. So these movies came out 30 years apart, but they're actually really similar. They were both based on books. National Velvet, the movie came out in 1944, and it was based on a book by Enid Bagnold. And The Black Stallion came out in 1979, and of course was based on the book by Walter Farley. Mickey Rooney is in both of them, which is fun. And they both feature children of about the same age with incredibly strong bonds that end up competing in major competitions. Okay, so just in case you haven't seen them in a while, as a refresher. So in National Velvet, Elizabeth Taylor is 12 years old. She looks a lot older than 12 to me in that picture. I think she's playing older, but the actress at the time was 12. What happens with Elizabeth Taylor? She becomes the owner of this rambunctious horse called the Pie. She decides to train him for England's Grand National Race, which is a steeplechase race. And she is aided by a former jockey, played by Mickey Rooney, and she's encouraged by her family. However, at the last minute, a problem arises with the jockey, and an unexpected rider must step in as a replacement. The Black Stallion was directed by Francis Ford Coppola, and you'll remember that in this one, Alec is on a steamship with his dad traveling around North Africa, and there's a disaster on the ship. Alec frees the Black Stallion. They both end up marooned on this desert island. When Alec is rescued, he insists on bringing the horse with him, and once again, Mickey Rooney, playing a former jockey, helps him train the horse, and they end up competing in a race together. So, as I dove into these movies, I found myself with a lot of horse questions. So I thought to myself, if only I knew somebody who was really, really smart about horses. Guess what? So this is our first ever edition of Horse Questions with Mary. So I have a lot of questions that I've come up with,
I'm
but
ready.
Hooves and Heroes is a participatory event. We cannot have pool noodle pony races this year. So instead, I ask that you put your questions for Mary in the comments, and we will get to as many of them as we can. So, Mary, welcome to
Thank
Horse
you.
Questions with Mary.
It's a pleasure to be here, Sasha.
Excellent.
I say that now.
So first up, I want to address this whole barn name, show name, race name issue. What the heck? Why do horses have so many names, and why are they so weird?
Well, it probably starts with their registered names. The registered names are really goofy, and people really want to they want everyone to know their pedigree. So they want to know who's the sire and who's the dam. So often you get this conglomeration of every bit of bloodline behind them.
Wait. I have another question you just brought up. It's sire and dam, not sire and dame?
Sire and dam.
Why does it have an E on the end?
It's DAM. It doesn't have an E on the end.
It doesn't?
No.
Huh. So now
Dam.
the question for me that you can ask me is, why are you such a bad speller, Sasha? Okay, back on track. Sorry.
So
Registered names.
that gives you their registered name. Their barn name is just typically a nickname, something that maybe the owner or the trainer, a name that comes up that just is really fitting for the horse. So, like, we have K2. His nickname is Jim. He has 2 names. So it's not uncommon at all to have a registered name and to have a nickname. And what was the third name?
The race name.
The race name. I thought the race name was the registered name.
Maybe it is. You're the expert
Yes,
here.
the race name is the registered name.
Okay, so I have a special treat because I was planning on asking you, Mary, what your name would be if you were a racehorse, but I decided that maybe that was a little bit unfair to ask you to come up with something on the fly. So, luckily, the Baltimore Sun, around the time of the Preakness, came up with a racehorse name generator. So
Cool.
my first question for you, Mary, is what is your favorite candy?
My favorite candy are those Cadbury eggs. They come out at Easter time and they've got that little hard shell.
Okay.
Cadbury egg.
Cadbury eggs. Your racehorse name is Cadbury Eggs Princess. You're a bit of a homebody, so the thought of traveling to a new neighborhood makes you nervous. You'll be fine. Just don't make eye contact with anyone. Hold on, we're going to do
Cadbury
one
egg
more.
Princess.
Cadbury eggs. Okay, what cafeteria food did you most dread as a child?
Cafeteria food did I most dread? Well, it would be anything that had green beans.
Oh, green beans. Green beans it is. Your racehorse name is... There's a bit of a double entendre here, I feel. Green Beans Cyclone.
Ooh.
You love to be the center of attention and are only happy when the spotlight is on you. If you start losing the race, you might fake an injury, just so they don't forget you exist. Just be careful, broken legs don't end well for your kind.
Oh, when I had my broken foot, I was using my knee roller and I was so competitive. I managed to get bucked off in a barrel race during a ground lesson. So that I think is a very fitting name. Green Bean Cyclone.
Green Beans Cyclone it is.
That's it.
So my next question was inspired by the Black Stallion. So the Black Stallion was portrayed by a champion Arabian stallion from Texas named Cass Ole. And now, interestingly, the old white horse in the Black Stallion was portrayed by a horse named Junior. Junior had previously appeared in National Lampoon's Animal House in 1978 as Trooper Niedermeyer's horse. Remember this?
I remember him.
But that's not a question. This is the question. My question is about Arabians. So growing up, I was always under the impression that Arabians were these high-strung, temperamental horses who didn't make good casual riding horses. Is there any truth to this? And are there certain breeds of horses that make better therapy horses than others?
Well, it's interesting that you ask that because if somebody says, oh, I have an Arabian, people automatically are like, wow, those horses are so spirited. And it's really, some can be, but not all are. Ray, when I first met him, he had 2 horses. He had 2 Arabians. They are his favorite breed. And Kaylinda and Star were super sweet. Kaylinda was like just a big dog. She'd follow you everywhere you went. You didn't need a halter and a lead rope on her. But she was a little on the feisty side. She was known to buck almost, I think, everybody. She threw me off a couple of times, actually rolled over me over my head. So she was a little bit on the feisty side, but she was also a sweetheart. So
I think
there you are.
your love of
Did I
horses
answer?
is showing through.
Did I answer your question about the temperament of the Arabians?
I think so. I think so. And how about for therapy horses?
For
Do some
therapy
breeds make better
horses,
therapy horses?
I don't know that I would necessarily say that there's a breed that is better. It's just overall disposition. We want those horses that are kind, willing workers. I kind of have I love them all.
Spoken like a true horse parent. So my next question is about human horse companionship.
Mhm.
So in both National Velvet and the Black Stallion, the horses are incredibly bonded to their young riders, Velvet and Alec. So does this happen in real life where a horse will form a particularly strong bond with one person to the point where they will only let that person ride them?
I think a lot of people are hoping I'm going to say yes, yes, because we want them to love us so much. And it's also why we give them so many treats. People, most horse owners, after they finish a schooling session, they're riding, they give their horse treats as a reward. And they really love the treats. And horses really want to feel comfortable, safe, and secure. They do definitely form attachments to people, but I would have to say it's probably the exception to the rule if one has a very strong bond with one particular person.
It's a little bit of Hollywood fiction.
Yeah, I think that might be just a tad.
But
they do all want to be treated with love and TLC, and they are outstanding companions.
Excellent hedging on that one. I really liked it. So here's a fun fact. The horse who played the black, Cass Ole, in the Black Stallion, like most horses, had his mane trimmed into a bridle path, right? Which makes it easier to fit a bridle on. For the movie, Cass Ole had to wear hair extensions to make his mane look like a wild horse's mane, which I thought was pretty awesome. He also had white markings on his legs, and he had a star on his forehead, and the white had to be covered with black hair dye to transform the horse into a completely black stallion. And when I read this, I felt very seen, and I felt a kinship with Cass Ole. My question here is about horse colors. So most of us can figure out what black, white, gray, even palomino is. But what the heck is the difference between bay and chestnut? And wait, there's more. Because
I know this.
I also read about colors like skewbald, overo, cremello, flea-bitten gray, and champagne. Does anybody ever actually use these colors?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. People love their colors. And if they happen to have like Palomino is a color breed registry. So people love their colors, and the more unusual the color, the more they love it. So the difference, to answer your first question, the difference between a bay and a chestnut is a bay is going to have black legs, black coloring from their knees down, hocks down. They will have a black mane, tail, and forelock, where a chestnut mane and tail are all going to be red like their bodies. And the color can range from anything from almost a golden yellow color all the way through the red tones to something that looks really more brown.
That's for both the bay and chestnut?
For the chestnuts.
Just for the chestnuts. Okay.
The bays, their bodies tend to be more brown.
And what color are the Camelot horses?
Oh, okay. Let's see. We have Paladin, not Paladin. Oh my goodness, I did it again. We have K2,
For those of you who
Jim,
don't know, Paladin used to be a Camelot therapy horse.
and he is the same color that Big Jim, or K2, he goes by both names interchangeably. He appears to be black, but he is actually very dark, dark, dark brown. If you look at him and the sun hits him in just the right angle, you can see light brown on his muzzle. So he is not black, as everybody thinks he is. Then we have Barbara, who is gray. She is also a flea-bitten gray.
Wait, what's the difference between flea-bitten gray and dapple gray?
Dapple gray is going to be a gray that's got these big, large kind of dots that are, lighter in color. They're going to be dark, and they have these dapples, and you can really see almost quarter or silver dollar size spots on them. They'll typically be really dark from their knees down. They'll have what are called dark points, but they go grayer as they age, unlike a blue roan who is gray and black.
And
that
is
stays the
Ashley
same
a
color.
blue-roan?
That's Ashley.
Oh.
And Barbara is flea bitten because she has these, if you look up close, she has these little tiny brown speckles all over, almost like freckles. And those are called flea bites. Then we go into the chestnut family. We have a lot of chestnuts in the barn. That's been kind of our history. Cliffy and Frisco are both chestnuts. They both are in the red family. And chestnut and sorrel, depending on where you're from, sorrel, chestnut, it's the same thing. It's really red body, red mane and tail. Can have white throughout, flaxen. And then who am I missing? Oh, we have Nutmeg, our newest therapy horse, and she is a silver bay. She's one of those very special, unique colors. When we first got her, I'm like, what is she? She looks like a bay, but she also kind of looks like a chestnut because she's got a lot of flaxen in her mane and tail, which is not bay coloring at all, but she's definitely dark from the knees and hocks down. She's black. We had DNA testing done, and we did color testing DNA, and she carries that silver gene.
I love that the phone is ringing right now. I really was kind of hoping that you would answer it.
Excuse me, I'm a little busy right now. I'm in the Q&A, horse Q&A.
So speaking of Nutmeg, I understand we have some really big news about Nutmeg.
She is officially sponsored. I got a call today, a check's in the mail, and she has a sponsorship. I just ordered her sponsor plaque for the pastures.
That is awesome news.
And the donor wishes to remain anonymous, but you are listening tonight. So thank you very, very much for sponsoring Nutmeg.
So, moving on, here's a fun fact. King Charles, who played the pie in National Velvet, was the first cousin of the real-life Seabiscuit. Both had Man-O-War as Grand Sire, which I think is just a fancy name for Grandpa, right?
Grandsire, yes. I got
grandpa.
distracted by that. Yeah, that's a grandfather.
Yeah. So horses have a sire, and as we recently established, a dam, not a dame. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you were English, you would be a
Could be
dame.
Dame.
Anyway, they are foaled, not born, right?
Correct. They foal out.
Okay, so if you heard someone say that a horse was born, would you automatically know, not really a horse person?
Some people do refer to them being born, but guaranteed if somebody refers to their grandchildren and they're foaling out or they're turning in January 1 and they've kind of aged and gone up a year, you can guarantee that those people are horse people.
So speaking of horses so you say fold out?
Fold out.
Being fold out?
Mm-hmm, fold out.
There have been at least a couple, where that happened at Camelot. What does one say? Where there have been at least a couple horses who have foaled out.
We have had 3 foals hit the ground is also another term. We've had 3 foals hit the ground at Camelot, and they don't actually hit the ground. They're not giraffes giving birth who stand. They actually do lay down, and I guess odd occasion they could be standing, but typically they lay down and give birth. But it's a very quick process, 30 minutes or so from when their water breaks, actually.
Ooh, lucky horses. I remember you sleeping in stalls during this time.
Oh, yes,
Why is that?
I did. When we first got Barbara, she was in foal, which means she was pregnant, and the barn was a new home for her. She'd been here a couple of months, and I wanted to be out while she delivered. And so I thought, well, I'm going to get her used to me being here. So I took my sleeping bag out and I slept on the edge of her stall, and I did that for a month. And there were a couple of nights when I would be like, okay, really nothing is happening tonight, so I'm going to go back home. And I'd come into the apartment and I could hear Ray snoring in the bedroom. And so I would go back out and go back to Barbara's stall. And I slept with her for a month. And then initially I was in her stall. I just laid along the edge, and I'd have hay piled kind of around me, and I'd wake up off and on and she'd be eating hay right in my face. It was just spectacular. And then we put up fencing to protect her foal from actually rolling and coming out of the stall. So once the full fencing was in place, I had my hammock up and ready, and I stayed in the hammock. And then after Barbara had her baby, I stayed out another 2 weeks just because why would I sleep inside? I had a baby to watch.
So just so everybody out there knows, Ray is running all of the technical aspects of tonight. So if he protests in any way technically to what Mary just said, you're going to know it. So, movie legend has it that Elizabeth Taylor fell in love with King Charles the horse while visiting the Rivera Country Club. So, MGM purchased him to appear in the movie with her. Incidentally, after the film wrapped, MGM gave Elizabeth Taylor the horse as a gift. So, MGM had purchased King Charles at the time for $800. And when I ran that through an inflation calculator, it came up with that would be $12,000 in today's dollars. Now, pricing on horses reminds me a lot of pricing on pianos, right? So there's all of these $100,000 Steinways for sale, but then you can go on Craigslist and there's all of these pianos offered for free, right? So I won't ask you about pianos, but talk to me about the pricing of horses. What determines that?
Ooh, that's a great question. Thanks for asking that one. There are a lot of things that really contribute to the value of a horse, depending on what their breed background is, and the job that they're going to be doing. A lot of cost goes into foaling, to breeding costs, and so those babies hit the ground and there's a lot of hope and potential. So those babies' costs can go up. Racehorses, for example, they're going to be very pricey. So it really kind of just depends on what they're being used for, what the sire and the dam, what their track record has been, whether it's show jumping, whatever. If they are very successful, then those prices are going to be inflated as well. But I can tell you this, that the horses don't have any idea what they're worth. I had somebody comment about a horse that was down at the barn down the street from us, and it was a horse that was purchased in the six-figure number range. And I was like, well, the horse is still just a horse. I mean, it's
Puts on its pants one leg at a time.
one leg at a time.
We just got the question of where the website is to watch to see if you won. I assume that you're talking about the $500 sweepstakes for the Visa gift card. It will be right here. So at the end of the presentation tonight, we will be drawing that winner. So you are in the right place.
Don't leave.
Shirley coming in with a funding update.
There you go.
Thank you. Get in here, Shirley. Say hi to everybody.
Oh, scoot over towards Shirley. There you are.
Hi. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is truly, truly amazing. We are getting notice that due to all of your extraordinary contributions, we are up to $35,293. I would like to send a special shout out to Mary Beth, to Carol, to Virginia, to Sal and Lynn, to Sharon, to Phil, Alyssa, and to Jeff. Thank you all very much. This is what makes these events just so fun and so magical, is your contributions and your support of this incredible program, which is why we are all here. So that will bring us to our last question, Mary. Are you ready?
Ooh, I am ready.
When they were casting the role of Alec in The Black Stallion, they saw more than 100 potential actors for the role. And they ended up going with this kid, 11-year-old kid named Kelly Reno, who showed up to an open casting call. So this kid didn't have any acting experience, but his parents were cattle ranchers, so he was an extraordinary writer. He had been writing before he could walk, right? So incredibly, even though he was only 11 years old at the time, he did all of his own stunts in the movie. The only exception was in the racetrack scenes where the thoroughbred had to race flat out. Kelly Reno said he wasn't big enough to hold the race back, or hold the horse back, and so they had a stand-in for him in those scenes. But my question is this, Mary. Do you think that it is harder to learn how to ride a horse than it is to learn how to act?
Ooh, that is a great question, Sasha. I think it's harder to learn how to act. That's coming from someone who grew up on horses. So to me, that is following the movement and being on horseback just feels so natural. It's like breathing. So I say acting, being in front of a camera, this is hard. I'm sweaty.
Speaking of Ray, we just got a question of, do horses snore?
No, but often people think Barbara is snoring because she is very loud when she sleeps. So Barbara, who often takes naps, not a surprise at all.
Works hard.
She's a hard worker and she loves her naps. When she's laying down When she's up on her chest, which is kind of upright with her legs kind of queued up underneath them, there's no snoring present. She lays out flat on her side. You can start hearing this, what sounds like a snore, but it's really just the weight of their body compressing their lungs makes more of a moan sound. But it's perfectly fine, perfectly healthy, but it is not a snore. So no, horses do not snore.
Horses do not snore. You heard it here.
Yeah.
So that wraps up our first segment of Horse Questions with Mary, but don't you worry. We will have more for you a little later when we talk about Seabiscuit. So get your questions ready. I am so proud of all of the precautions that Camelot took this year to keep the ranch up and running. I have spoken with so many students and parents of students over the years who depend on Camelot not only for the physical benefits, but also for the social, emotional ones. And in a year of so much isolation, people needed the ranch more than ever. And I am so impressed with how the team here delivered. One of the things that I love about these horse movies that we're talking about tonight is that the heroes are ordinary people whose extraordinary actions are inspired by their love of horses. It makes me think about Camelot's philosophy that everyone has a right to risk. Ray is giving me signals. Am I too far over, Ray?
Microphone.
Oh, I'm too far away from the microphone. My apologies. Thanks, Ray. So one of the things I was saying that I love so much about these movies is that they feature heroes who are ordinary people who do extraordinary things because they're inspired for their love of horses. And it makes me think of Camelot's philosophy that everyone has a right to risk. And while both National Velvet and the Black Stallion are fictional, of course, there are plenty of stories right here at Camelot that are just as amazing that are happening every single day. So that brings us to the reason why we're all here tonight, which is to raise funds for the incredible Camelot program. As you may already know, Camelot was founded upon the principle that it is impossible to put a price on human dignity. So Camelot is never charged for lessons. It's possible to do this because of supporters just like you. And one of the ways is through a $2,000 student sponsorship. So since Camelot is wrapping up the lesson season right now, any $2,000 sponsorships that come in tonight for student sponsorships will be put towards a lucky recipient for next year's 2021-2022 lesson season. So if you are able to make this life-changing donation on behalf of a future Camelot student, please go right now to camelotaz.org/hearts and click on that yellow donate button we've talked about up in the right-hand corner to make your $2,000 donation. Or you could buy a couple $1,000 hearts if you would prefer. And remember, you will get your mugs in the mail. I promise that your donation will be the catalyst for making someone's horse dreams come true. So next up on tonight's program, I'm very excited that we will have a performance by the one and only Todd Herzog. Todd is an incredibly talented and hardworking Arizona singer-songwriter. He regularly performs all over the valley. Hi, Todd. Can he hear me? Oh, he's frozen.
I can hear you.
Oh, there he is. Hi, Todd. We are so happy to have him as part of the Camelot family, and he has contributed music to multiple Camelot videos over the years. He has performed at the magical Camelot Sunset concert. So Todd, in case you don't know, has worked with some of the top songwriters and artists in the world, and his song, You and I, reached #2 on the Billboard Smooth Jazz charts. His songs and his voice have also been all over TV and film in shows like The Brotherhood, Young and the Restless, All My Children, One Life to Live, Who Wants to Marry My Dad, The Osbournes, and Melrose Place. Todd, thank you for being here, and happy belated birthday.
Thank you, Sasha. My pleasure.
So tell me, what has this past year looked like for you, and what do things look like going forward?
Well, it's looked a lot like what we're doing right now. It's looked a lot like turning my home studio into a mini TV studio and sharing music through the use of technology, and just starting to, get back into the world of actual live performance. But yeah, in some ways it's been challenging, and in other ways it's opened up new possibilities that we didn't even know existed prior to having to, deal with COVID. Hey, Jeff.
Your guitar is absolutely gorgeous. What can you tell me about it?
Well, this is a Taylor guitar that I just got this year, and it's kind of a shorter neck than a normal one. It's a 12 fret guitar, and I wish I could tell you exactly what wood it was made out of, but it's like a sunburst kind of maybe a rosewood. I'm not entirely sure, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, I really enjoy this guitar, and it's got kind of an open headstock, which you can see. So on some guitars, that'll be closed off and just the tuning pegs on the outside, and this one's just kind of nice and open. It lends itself to like finger picking a little bit more. You hear the definition of it.
It looks so. Tonight is the night of things Sasha doesn't know, and one of the things I don't know is why it is an unusual shape. It looks like there's a cutout there where your right hand. Yeah, there.
Yeah, they do. There's a cutout, so in case you want to get up to some of these higher notes on the fretboard, you can get your hand up in there and reach the higher notes. Not that I ever spend much time up there anyway, but it's nice to know that it's there if you want it.
Should the desire strike you, you can.
Exactly.
So tonight you are going to perform the song that you wrote for Camelot called Soar. And every time I listen to this song, I'm so impressed by how you captured this feeling of inclusion and triumph that exists at Camelot. And I'm wondering what your process is and how you were able to do that so incredibly well.
Well, it was kind of in consultation, I believe, with you and with Mary, and we kind of talked about really what the mission of Camelot was about, because Anne Ezell had made some of my songs into videos, and just beautiful videos. One of my songs, Listen Close, and we thought, Camelot really needs its own song. So we started talking about that, and what is it that the people who are coming to Camelot are really, wanting to experience? And it's this idea of being able to move and being able to feel like they're flying when they're on horseback, and and so it really became a process of kind of finessing. Like, it's not about limitation; it's about overcoming limitation. It's about challenging yourself, and it's also about the feeling of belonging. That I really feel that you and Mary and Ray, like, this is a community, and these, this is where I come. This is where I come to overcome. Right. This is where I feel like I belong, and I wanted to kind of portray that musically as best I could. That it's such a special place where people can come and find that they have these abilities that they didn't even realize that they had, and it's a place where they can feel just normal also. And so trying to capture all of those sentiments, and we went back and forth a few times, but made some tweaks to the lyrics here and there, and anyway, I feel pretty good about what we came up with.
Oh, I sure do too. Well, on that note, so to speak, take it away.
All right. This is where I come to overcome. This is where I feel like I belong. This is one of those transcending spaces. This is where I feel my life is stable. This is where I'm welcome at the table. This is where I'm not just one of many faces. When my soul needs something more, this is where my heart will soar. This is where my heart will soar. This is where I find nobility, where I discover my ability to rise through the challenges life placed before me. This is where I find my family. This is where I find I'm truly free, surrounded by the people who adore me. When my soul needs something more, this is where my heart will soar. This is where my heart will soar. When I need to push my limits, getting stronger by the minute, I walk through that open door. And this is where my heart will soar. 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 This is where I come to find myself. This is where I come to offer help. This is where I'm not just one of many faces. Thank you.
Todd, thank you so much for being here tonight and for sharing your incredible talent. I would imagine that you are not able to see the comments as they were coming in, but you can see them in the recording, and people just love that song.
I can see them.
You can see them? Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
So thank you all for joining us for that. If you would like to learn more about Todd, purchase his music, or perhaps chat with him about creating a custom song, please visit his website, which is toddherzogmusic.com. And Todd, thank you again so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sasha.
So, first of all, I would like to, one of the benefits of sitting in this seat is that I get to give a little shout out to my kids who are watching at home. So Finn, Indy, Odessa, and my husband, Alan, I would like to say hello and thank you for watching. Make sure you eat a good dinner, please. So Camelot has a dedicated team of volunteers, all headed by the wonderful volunteer coordinator, Hannah Brisso, who is here to tell us about this year's recipient of the Golden Stirrup Volunteer Award.
Camelot is a fully enclosed 14¼ acres. All of our property is landscaped and kept weed-free by volunteers and staff. It's a big job. Each year, we present a volunteer with a special award, the Golden Stirrup Award, for those that go above and beyond the call of volunteer service. This year, we are so thrilled to be able to offer it to 2 volunteers, Joyce and Leo Nolan. They have been outstanding in their dedication and their diligence to this facility and to the property specifically. Thank you so much, Joyce and Leo. We really appreciate you.
So Joyce and Leo, I really truly want to say thank you so much. Your work has been way above and beyond, and the ranch really, honestly, has never looked better. So thank you. Frequently, I'm asked, really, what exactly is it about therapeutic riding that, or horseback riding, that is so therapeutic? Quite simply, it is the movement. When someone is sitting on the back of a horse while it is walking, their pelvis moves 3-dimensionally, just like it does when they're walking on their own 2 feet. It's the only exercise that so closely simulates the human form at the walk. For someone that isn't ambulatory, sitting on a horse and having their pelvis moved, well, it's really simply, that's where the magic happens. And at first, the riders here at Camelot are going to work to master the walk, and then they're going to move on to master the trot. And after a hard day's work, it's nap time for Big Barbara. She might sound like she's snoring out there in the pasture, but I can assure you she's not. But On that same token, it's not uncommon for our neighbors to stop by when they see her laid out flat on her side along with her pasture mates. And they're a little concerned that something's happened to one of the horses when they're simply just relaxing and enjoying the sweet Arizona sunshine. So I have something very special for you tonight. Watching about a year ago, a gentleman named John Badalamenti, he contacted me with interest in creating a documentary. And in this documentary, he wanted to talk about the horse-human connection and specifically the extraordinary work that takes place here at Camelot at another beautiful Arizona ranch. John is a photographer and a videographer, and his documentary is scheduled to be released in June. I hope you enjoy the trailer to this movie that Camelot is featured in. Please.
Right in front of my eyes, I was sort of watching this multi-million-dollar industry emerge around human horse communication. And what was so interesting was that it had all these men at the center of it. And they were primarily sort of cowboy-like men, primarily Anglo men. But I was like, where are the women? There's nothing I feel like you can get in everyday life that when you are on the back of a horse, like the sense of your embodiment that you are able to achieve on the back of a horse is so different. This horse's body now becomes an extension of your body, and you can run so much faster than you ever could alone. You could jump so much higher than you ever could alone. So horses offer to humans this alternate sense of embodiment that I think is quite empowering and also quite magical. I mean, there's a way in which I don't quite have the words for it because it is such an embodied experience. It's almost beyond language, if you will. Like we don't have the words yet to describe that kind of embodied experience.
So I'm really super excited. This film is projected for release in June, and I personally can't wait to see it. And it's possible there might be some fun opportunities for some private screenings. So stay tuned. We'll keep you posted. So earlier I mentioned some of our neighbors. And speaking of neighbors, one who lives down 62nd Street, we affectionately just call him the Mule Man. When he comes down the road, everybody notices. We've actually gone so far to create Mule Man procedures so that when we're in lessons and he suddenly is driving down 62nd Street, we can get the horses turned so they can see him coming down the road. He's got a variety of very large carriages. Sometimes he's dragging these massive tires. This one that you see on screen has these massive big barrels inside it that are weighed down with rocks. He breeds mules, so sometimes he's got his mules hitched, and he's got youngsters that he's ponying behind. So you never quite know what's going to be coming down the street, and it's really fun. And right across the street from Camelot, we have over 6,000 acres of undeveloped, beautiful desert. So he goes across the street, he enjoys that space. We have people on mountain bikes and dirt bikes, and everybody's just enjoying this beautiful, beautiful desert around us. And I can't wait till we go to see him. And at this time now, I'd like to introduce you to Camelot's barn manager. She is one of our, she's also a PATH certified riding instructor. Rebecca grew up horseback riding and brings her love of horses into the lessons. She's also our on-site knitting guru. She is an expert. So when she doesn't have her reins in hand, it's pretty likely you're going to see her holding knitting needles instead. So right now, I'd love to show a cute video of Rebecca, and she's going to ask you for a little bit of money. So here you go.
Hi, I'm Rebecca, and I spend a lot of time in this hay room. We go through about a bale of hay a day for all of our hungry horses, so between our hay and our grain, it adds up really fast. We end up spending about $1,000 a month. So if you'd like to make a $1,000 contribution, you can feed our horses for an entire month. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. I got caught. I was so determined to not get caught talking to Mary, and yet there I'm jawing away. First of all, I want to say I love that video of Rebecca. I have seen it several times, and every time it makes me happy. So, Rebecca, awesome job. Second, if you would like to feed the Camelot horses for a month, you can make the donation right now at camelotaz.org/hearts. $1,000 donation would be amazing, but donations of any amount go towards supporting this incredible program and this incredible place. And of course, don't forget, any donation you make tonight will score you a couple of free mugs that we will mail to you. And now, as promised, our second and final installment of Horse Questions with Mary. This time with regard to the 2003 movie Seabiscuit. So the Seabiscuit movie is also based on a book, and this one is by Laura Hillenbrand. And you may recognize her name because she wrote the incredible World War II saga about Louis Zamperini called Unbroken. Back to Seabiscuit though. So the plot of the movie is that it is the midst of the Great Depression. It's based on a true story. A businessman, played by Jeff Bridges, a jockey, played by Tobey Maguire, and a down-and-out horse trainer, played by Chris Cooper, team up to help Seabiscuit, who is a temperamental, undersized racehorse. At first, the horse struggles to win, but eventually Seabiscuit becomes one of the most successful thoroughbreds of all time and inspires a nation at a time when it needs it most. Let's take a look at the trailer.
A nose? You lose a race of nose, you better fall off trying. To the future.
Red Pollard, Mr. Howard.
Hi. Hello.
Of course, it's nuts.
I'm not afraid of you.
Every horse is good for something. You don't throw a whole life away just 'cause it's banged up a little.
Seems pretty fast.
Yeah, in every direction. He just needs to learn how to be a horse again.
How far do you want me to take him?
Till he stops.
Let's see what you got, boy.
What, fast?
Your horse just broke the track record of Tamfran.
Well, I just think this horse has a lot of heart.
I'll lay even money that this nag Seabiscuit couldn't even finish 6 furlongs.
I told you, look out for Rosemont. It's not my fault. Now, he was flying up your
Yeah, well, I can't! What? See out there!
He lied to us. He's blind in one eye.
You don't throw a whole life away just because it's banged up a little bit.
The odds were incredible.
Our horse is too small. Our jockey is too big.
The dream was impossible.
Everybody loses a couple, and you either pack up and you go home or you keep fighting.
And the story is true.
Kind of small, isn't he? Gonna look a lot smaller in a second, Georgie.
Tobey Maguire. Academy Award nominee Jeff Bridges. Academy Award winner Chris Cooper.
Don't stop, boy. Don't ever stop.
Seabiscuit. Based on a true story.
I really love that movie.
I do too.
So 2 quick things. Wait, we'll
I
get to
love it
that in
so
just a second. You can keep it up though. It looks nice. The website, if you would like to make a donation, is www.camelotaz.org/hearts. But if you just go to the Camelot website, you'll see a link there if you're having trouble getting to that particular link. If you go to camelotaz.org, you can get to the donation site from there. And number 2, Shirley, our woman behind the scenes, just came and gave me an update that Miss Alexis just made a donation. So thank you very, very much, Alexis. We appreciate it very, very much. Okay, now Mary, you can talk about what you have in your hands.
So we just happen to have a special edition of the Seabiscuit movie, and Ray came up with this super fun idea. He thought, why don't we invite people to come out, bring their own chair and bring some popcorn, whatever they want to munch on, and we can go out in the breezeway, bring our TV out, and we can have movie night out in the breezeway. So we don't have anything on the calendar yet, but I think it sounds fun.
I think it's a great
Anybody out there want to come watch a movie with me?
I do.
Yay.
I mean, maybe we could do it tonight. We could have a double feature tonight, and then we could do it again another night. I mean, I'm here already. Okay, so back to horse questions with Mary. So a big climax in the movie, in Seabiscuit, is this match race between Seabiscuit and War Admiral. So the movie describes War Admiral as huge, close to 18 hands tall. As it turns out, though, I did a little research, and actually War Admiral was about 15 hands, the same size as Seabiscuit.
They were lying?
Isn't that well? And they even show him. They show War Admiral and they lead him out. And I mean, he's just enormous. The Seabiscuit looked like quite the underdog that way. But here's my question for you. I want to know about why horses are measured in hands and not feet, and how big is a hand? And for reference, how tall are a few of the Camelot horses?
So great questions. So. Thanks. Why they've been measured in hands probably has to go back to just ranchers, workers doing a rough estimate and using the side of their hand and measuring. A hand is 4 inches, and it was probably just easier than trying to do it with their feet. I think you run the risk of tipping over. I'm kind of clumsy, so I think the hands were easier. But 4 inches, and so the Camelot horses, our smallest is about 12'2", is how it's referred to. So you give the first number is the number of hands, which Ashley is 12 hands, 12 hands and 2 extra inches. And our tallest is the beautiful Jim, and he is 16'2". We have Jim and Barbara are very close in height when you measure them at if you take the crest of their neck and you come down to where their withers are, that is where they are measured. Cliffy, his wither height is there. His back height is lower, so he doesn't feel quite as tall. As he's aging, his back is starting to drop. When you sit on Jim, where measurement-wise, he's very close to Barbara. He's a little bit bigger, but he feels way larger because he is just broader. And he's got feet that are like big dinner plates, so when he walks, he really hits the ground hard. He's not the most graceful. Barbara's a ballerina in comparison, but they both are about 16'2". And little Nutmeg, she's in 13-hand range. I don't know exactly. So when you don't know the exact number, you can say 13-hand range, and that means she's 13'1", maybe 2, hands high.
And I remember at one point, this is sort of tangentially related, but I remember you describing to me when you were looking for new therapy horses that depending upon who you have on the student schedule, that you might want horses that were bigger around or who were less big around or were taller or were less tall.
Yeah. Because we serve such a wide range of students, we have children as young as 7, that's our minimum age, and we have no age limit. So we have riders up into their 70s. We have some riders that have very tight adductors, abductors, so it's very hard for them to spread their legs. So we have a need for short horses, we have a need for tall, we have a need for narrow-bodied and wide-bodied. The wider the horse is, students can sit on them and feel much more stable. When you sit on Ashley, someone my size, she can carry my weight. I'm not overweight for her. But when I sit on her, I feel like I'm just sitting on a board. I have no place to put my legs. My legs just kind of hang down long. So she is not a suitable mount for a rider of my size. I need somebody with a little bit more body for my legs. If that makes sense.
So do the Camelot students will they ride the same horse every week that they have a lesson in saddle, or will they switch around to different horses?
It varies. Sometimes when a student is just starting the program, it's almost like the three bears. We'll try this horse, we'll try this saddle, we'll try this combination, and if it's not perfect, we're gonna change that combination the next lesson. Some students might start on a particular horse, and over time, as their skill sets develop, they might be ready to kind of graduate and move to a different horse. So it really, really varies a lot depending on the student, where they're at in their skill sets, and also the length of time that they are riding with us.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Oh, thanks. I have another fun fact for you. So War Admiral in the movie was played by one of his descendants, a gelding named Verboom.
I didn't know that, but I love that name.
It's a good fun fact, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is one of my favorite parts of the movie, is that Seabiscuit is really agitated, and so the trainer brings him a goat for companionship. We know my love for goats. And Seabiscuit ends up rejecting this goat, but does bond with this stray dog and another horse. So there are two interesting things to me about this. Number one is that it turns out that this element is true. The dog's name was Pocatello, and the mare's name was Pumpkin, and Pumpkin traveled with Seabiscuit to all of his races throughout his racing career, which I thought was so cool.
That's how we got Ashley, actually.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
She didn't have to do. She wasn't to be. She was purchased by Chris Stevens as a companion horse for one of her show horses, and Ashley didn't really take too kindly to the job. She's not actually nice in the playground. She doesn't. She's not a good companion horse for anyone other than herself, and so Ashley didn't have a job, and Chris heard about Camelot, and she contacted me, and one thing led to another, and we've brought her on, and I just love this little pony. She's 12 hands, tiny little thing. She's great with our beginner riders, but her movement, oh my gosh, if I could actually clone her or have her bigger, before Chris bought her, she was a little hunter jumper. She actually jumps.
So her movement, when you talk about that, like loving her movement, meaning that it's really smooth, or she's rocking, or what is it about her movement that makes her exceptional?
She just carries herself really well. We want horses to move. We want them to hit the ground. I'd love to see some spring through their pasterns, which is going to, it acts as a little bit of a shock absorber. So when she hits the ground, it's not real hard, although some students actually benefit from a lot of feedback that they get from riding horses that have a little bit choppier gait. But when she's trotting, she just throws her front legs out, and it's like this moment where her feet just don't quite touch the ground. It's just she carries herself very pretty. It's lovely to watch, and it's really fun to ride.
Going back to Todd's song "Soar," that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah,
Ashley helps them soar.
When you look at her, she's just a lovely mover. That's the only way to describe it.
So the other part that I was going to say about the companion horse and the goats and the dog and the whole thing is that when I was looking into all of this, I discovered something very, very interesting, which is that that expression, to get one's goat. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
I actually don't know the expression.
So if you say like somebody got your goat, it means that they got to you, right?
Okay.
Like they kind of
got your goat.
So if somebody gets your goat, it means that they bugged you, right? So there are a lot of people who think that this expression came from the practice of stealing a rival horse's goat from their stall the night before a race to get the horse really agitated before the race.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, racing is so crazy competitive. It's a very big dollar industry, and so it wouldn't surprise me at all that somebody might try to do that. I think for your big stakes races and such, that there's quite a bit of security in the barn, so that might not happen so much now, or a lot of surveillance cameras and such. But there are a lot of superstitions. There's a lot of continuity when horses are traveling and going to different races. They want their stalls just like they are at home. They want their companions are coming with them. They bring their feed. I bet there are some that are go so far as to bring their own bedding from home to have everything just perfect
Well,
for
and I
those
would
horses.
think that like every sport, like there are a few races that we all know about and hear about, but there are thousands and thousands and thousands of lead up races of horses whose names you'll never hear. And I would imagine that at those places that, it'd be pretty easy to get somebody's goat.
Get somebody's goat.
So Seabiscuit is one of those names that just seems normal if you hear it enough, but in the course of working on this for tonight, I started to get curious about where the name Seabiscuit came from and like what that was. And I will admit I got a little nervous that it was sort of like the ocean equivalent to buffalo chips. And so I looked it up, and it turns out that Seabiscuit's sire was named Hardtack. And hardtack, this is something else I did not know. It's a kind of cracker or biscuit that's made primarily from flour and water that they would take on these long sea voyages. In fact, they might still do it. They take on these long sea voyages because they don't go bad. And so they call them hardtack. But another name for hardtack is sea biscuit. So because hardtack was the sire, Seabiscuit was named Seabiscuit.
I just love that.
I know, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of thought that goes into their names.
I was so relieved to hear that it had to do with, something edible rather than the opposite.
Yeah. Speaking of interesting horse names, our horse Barbara is actually named after a person named Barbara Curry. So Barbara, her mother, Barbara came from, the horse came from Spain. And when she was in foal, the ranch owners, who are good friends with Barbara Curry, who lives out in California, they decided on the name for the foal before she hit the ground, which is another term for them foaling out. And so when Chris Hensley started looking for a horse to have and to bring to Camelot, we did a trip out to California. I got to meet Barbara Curry when I met Barbara the horse. And to this day, when I email back and forth with Barbara Curry, it's always in the subject, it's always Barbara the horse, and she's always Barbara the person. So, but she was named.
So long as you do not confuse the two.
No.
So in the movie, the trainer, played by Chris Cooper, is a farrier. So someone who trims and puts shoes on horses' hooves, right? So why do horses need shoes? First of all, does the farrier have to custom make every shoe? And how often do the Camelot horses get new shoes?
That's a great question. So there are a lot of custom shoes, yes. We have 2 in our barn that actually have custom shoes. Ramon Aguirre is our farrier, and he has been for years. And he works very closely with our veterinarians for our horses when they have foot issues. Standard shoes come in different weights. They come in different sizes. We have Cliffy, Frisco, and Jim both wear shoes. Some wear them all the way around on all 4. Some have shoes just on the front. So those needs are very specific. And the shoes, while they might look standard at a farrier supply shop, they are shaped and fitted for each foot that they are being attached to. And farrier schedule, we're on a good 7 to 8 week schedule. So rain or shine, they get their feet, they have their pedicures. Now, I just use these hands. I don't get manis very often for myself, but our horses don't. We don't miss their 8 week schedule, 7 week schedule, kind of in that range.
And actually, I would be remiss if I did not say right now, if you would like to support the horse mani-pedis, I guess they're mostly just petties, that you can make a donation right now at camelotaz.org/hearts. And that will help pay for getting those horses' hooves trimmed. So but I still don't understand why do they need shoes? Like, so hooves are incredibly tough, right? I understand why they need to be trimmed, but they need protection.
Some do. Like Cliffy, he has really terrible feet. It's not uncommon when horses have white socks that the white hoof can be not quite as strong as a black hoof wall. But that's not necessarily the case across the board for all horses. Cliffy's been here at Camelot, I think 16 or 17 years, and he's had bad feet all along. So he gets additional hoof supplements. He gets biotin added to his feed. And so his feet are really crumbly. So he needs shoes. Jim has a tendency to get splits on the, on front of his front hooves. So we have shoes on to provide support. And Frisco has always needed pads under his shoes. If he's barefoot, he gets sore. So he came to us with shoes and pads. We tried a couple of times to take the pads away, and
no go.
So there's an old saying, no hoof, no horse. So we take very good care of their feet and do whatever it takes to keep their feet healthy and happy.
I like that saying more than no woman, no cry. All right. So the last question tonight is actually not about Seabiscuit. It is about another horse movie, The Horse Whisperer, which incidentally I got to work on really a long time ago. But I learned as I was prepping for tonight that horse whispering is something of a misnomer. Do you know this?
Doesn't surprise me. I don't know the story, but...
So I might just be making this up. I'm not. Native Americans apparently would sometimes tame a horse by jumping on their back and biting their ear. So sometimes, and it would make the horse stop bucking, but people watching sometimes misunderstood and thought that the rider was actually whispering in the horse's ear, which is where this idea of horse whispering came from.
It definitely doesn't have that that meaning today. In fact, it would be the exact opposite of what someone thinks of as a horse whisperer.
Well, that
today.
was my next question, was if you had ever bitten a horse. You can plead the fifth if you want.
I have actually bitten. I have. I mean, not like grabbed them. I've kind of nipped on their noses sometimes, but more like a love bite, not a I'm angry and I've bitten their ear. But I did bite our cat's tail when I was a child because I didn't know if they had feeling in their tails. I was a small child, and they do. Cats, I can tell you that they do have feeling in their tails. But coming back to horse whispering,
yes.
Today when someone thinks of a horse whisperer, it's someone that has a real is really tuned in, has a deep connection, not just necessarily with their horse, but has a strong understanding of horse body language and can interact, can possibly redirect energy or change energy that is happening with the horse just based on their reading the horse's body language. And people often refer to them as horse whisperers, but it's really horse language learners.
That is a very different meaning than the one that I read about, but it was more the meaning that I have always assumed to be true based on the movie and the documentary, actually, which was very similar. So that wraps up our second segment of course questions from Mary. Ray is directing me to do the drawing, which of course we're going to do right now. It has been an incredible evening, and it has been an incredible lead up to this moment. So anybody who purchased a heart up until the deadline of last night was entered into this drawing for a $500 Visa gift card that was in fact donated by our own Shirley Lohman. So here's how it's going to work. Our disembodied hand is going to reach in and draw a name. And that person is going to have 3 minutes to let us know that they're watching, because the rule is that you have to be watching to win. So you have 3 minutes to respond, and if you don't respond within 3 minutes, we are going to draw another name. So, Miss Mary?
The winning ticket holder is Tracy Lavelle. Tracy, you have 3 minutes. I physically have a timer. Clock's ticking. You need to send a text, a comment on Facebook Live. Hi, Tracy, I'm here. Yay, I'm the winner. And you are the lucky recipient of the $500 Visa gift card, and we will get that mailed to you, or you can pick it up here at Camelot.
And in the meantime, our woman behind the scenes, Miss Shirley, just brought me a funding update.
I need to watch this timer.
We are now at a grand total of $36,178.
Where's that applause? Where's that applause?
Oh, yeah, Ray, we need applause. It's coming. It's coming. This is what happens with live television, folks. I would like to send a special thank you to Carrie for your very, very generous donation. Thank you. There it is. To Patricia, to Nancy, and to Aaron, thank you very, very much for your donations. They will make a huge difference to the Camelot program. And again, we're at $36,178 as we're getting ready
to our deadline, to our goal.
We
so
are
close
very,
to our
very close to our
$40,000 goal.
So if anybody has,
it's not too late.
What is that? $3,000.
Ray, you're good with numbers.
So.
What's the
$3,900 that they want to donate to the program? You could get us right to that $40,000 goal.
We could have.
All right, where are we on our timer?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. The timer is so close. Tracy, are you out there? You've got to be watching. And I have a very full bucket of tickets. We had some very clever heart purchasers that broke down their contribution into multiple hearts. The addition of the $10 teal level was very popular. So I got a. This is a feed bucket that I borrowed. Can you see it? So I did wash it. It was kind of gritty.
As we wait for Tracy to make her presence known, Mary, talk to me about Starry Nights this year in October.
Yes, we have a date. We are going to meet at the Scottsdale Plaza, our favorite location for our Starry Nights venue, it's our very favorite Starry Nights venue. October 29th. Please mark your calendars. You're not going to want to miss it. It is, we have limited seating available. So when tickets go on sale, you want to get your table, you want to get your seats, and come join us. We're going to have student interviews. Those are always so spectacular. It's, I get to know our students during their time here at Camelot, but seeing what their lives are like at home, what they're, really learning more about their interests and stuff is always so fun. So guess what? Tracy, time is up.
Nobody tell her how close she came, please.
Oh,
this will be our little secret.
Everybody
that
else
means that you still have a chance.
How many people are watching, Ray?
Here we go. We have a full house tonight. The disembodied hand.
Okay. Ooh. It is Shirley Lohman.
Oh,
Shirley, you are the winner out of so many.
Come in. You can talk.
You're the winner. Do you?
I would like to have you draw. I'm sorry, I don't know which way to.
There we go. Perfect.
I would like, Mary, for you to draw another name and allow someone else, some wonderful supporter, to have the opportunity to have the gift card.
Oh,
Applause.
Amazing.
Applause, please.
Applause, please.
Where's our applause?
Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you.
There it is.
Yay. Okay. Mr. Hand.
Can you show how many tickets are in there? The chances of
there's
Shirley winning that was just...
It's kind of hard to figure out how to do that.
There we go, yeah. And up, there are just...
There's a lot of tickets in there.
There's so many tickets.
So many.
Here we go.
Okay.
All right, next one.
Who is it? Ooh.
Third time's the charm.
This is Ruth Ehrlich. Ben, if you are watching, I know you were earlier, you need to call your grandma. Call your grandma. The odds of her being on Facebook, I think, are probably pretty slim. But she won. She bought a heart. So
if... so she has 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
She has 3 minutes to get to get logged into Facebook. Let us know she's watching.
Ray, don't go far because I think you're going to be drawing again.
Well, we'll see.
This is
Did
fun.
you start our timer?
I did. I
Okay,
did.
excellent. Okay, so back to the Scottsdale Plaza Resort. It will be October 29th, in person, Starry Nights. I am very much looking forward to seeing how we all react to being around other human beings after all of this time.
Do we know how to eat in public?
I think it's going to be awkward, and I think it's going to be fun, and it is just one of my favorite nights of the year. So I cannot wait, and I'm so excited that we're going to be able to be back in person.
I'm stirring our tickets while you talk. I hope it's not too loud over the microphone, which is right here beside me. What's that?
You're banging.
I'm banging. Ray says I'm making noise.
So as we wait for Miss Ruth to respond, Mary, talk to me about Camelot's need for summer volunteers.
Oh, yes. Summer is right around the corner. We are still in lessons right now, and they will continue until Memorial Day weekend. And at that time, schedule shifts and our volunteer need actually goes up. We have a lot of our volunteers that are with us during the lesson year are out of town during the summer months. And so we have a big need. We have the horses get taken care of 7 days a week, rain or shine, 365 days a year. So they need care continuous and summer's included. So if anyone out there has thought, oh man, I really want to get to know those Camelot horses a little bit better, come on out. You'll have that opportunity.
And I've done it. And one of the benefits of volunteering during the summer is that dehydrated poop out in the turnouts is a lot lighter during the summer. So, hey, there are benefits to being a summer volunteer. I will tell you right now. How are we doing on our timer?
It's getting close.
Getting close.
Ruth's little ticket. Let's see if I can. It's so weird because when I look at the screen, I feel like I should go that way. It's just backwards. This is the fun with live. I don't spend a lot of time in front of a camera, so.
Oh, and Deb, we see that you are going to be at Starry Nights this year.
Yay!
Thank you very much. We love hearing that. It is, I promise, it is just going to be a celebration.
Sasha, what are you thinking about for our theme? What do you want? What are you thinking?
You know, we had talked a little bit before when we were planning on having it before about going with something more sort of like a denim and diamonds theme, doing something a little more casual. But I don't know. What do you people, the people who are watching, what do you think that we should do for our theme this year? We have done Starry Nights in black and white. We have done
Havana Night. That was fun.
We did Havana Nights. That was our last one that we did, which was a ton of fun. We had
did
done
chocolate and champagne.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. That was for the anniversary. So, the whole point is to get dressed up and have a party, and we can do that no matter what we're wearing. But boy, a good theme really makes it fun.
Pajama party.
Is it time for us to draw yet another ticket?
It just ran out. So
Mary predicted this, and
I had a feeling we'd be doing a few drawings.
All right.
Let's see if it's Shirley.
I can't wait to see who it is.
It's Shirley.
No, it is not.
She bought a lot of. There's a lot of hearts out there. Shirley, you won again. Should I just go ahead and draw another? Where's that applause? Yes, applause, please, for Shirley.
Hannah says denim and diamonds or Mardi Gras.
Okay, Ray. Why do you keep picking Shirley's cards? Let's see.
He knows where his bread is buttered.
Lynn Locasio. I know you were watching because I saw you commenting earlier. So, Lynn, you are our Visa card winner. I'm so excited.
Lynn,
that makes me very happy.
Make your presence known.
Yay! Oh, Ben, is that you laughing? Yeah. Sorry, Ben, that your grandma didn't touch base.
Lynn, all you have to do is make a comment that you're watching.
I love you, Ben.
Where's the $500 gift card is yours.
Oh. I got the timer is flipped.
Oh no, I hope.
Telling you, this is why Ray does all of the technology, even the little sand timers. These sand timers are so cute. So you might be wondering, why do we have sand timers? Hannah had just the greatest idea. Yahoo!
Oh, there
Yahoo!
she is!
Yahoo!
Hooray!
Yay! Yay!
Ray's wanted to use that sound effect. Oh,
yay! So you're the winner. I'll see you Thursday. You'll be able to pick up your card here when you're at Camelot. when you are writing for your lesson. Lynn Locascio is one of Camelot's students. She's been with us about 18 years. She was first a volunteer. She was actually my first my student interview when I did my first intake interview. And at the conclusion of that interview meeting, I was chatting with Eileen, and I said, I see Lynn involved, but I don't see her as a student because she has a lot of horse experience. She's had horses and she's ridden. And so she started as a volunteer, and then as her needs changed over the years, she joined the rider schedule. So see you Thursday, Lynn, and congratulations.
And thank you very much. It was well deserved. And thank you for purchasing the heart. And thank you to everyone who participated in this event tonight. Mary and I, and Ray, I can't really see him behind his monitor. He hides from me during these things, but
it's like the Wizard of Oz. He's behind the curtain.
He's a little bit behind the curtain. We have had a wonderful time, and we hope that you have too. Thank you again to Todd Herzog for being here tonight and performing. And that brings us, yes, Mary.
I was just going to say, and for everyone that has donated this evening, I have a list. We will be shipping out a set of these beautiful Camelot mugs. Got the Dream Shooter. This is Ray's design. Where's my thing? Dream Shooter on one side and Camelot AZ or Camelot Where Heroes Are Born on the other. They're wonderful. I love the mugs. And we will get those mugs shipped out to you ASAP. So thank you. Thank you for that.
So thank you very much. That will bring tonight's event to a conclusion, and we cannot wait to see you in person in October for Starry Nights.
Starry Nights.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along. And I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I watch you as you sleep. You don't know I'm looking. With you everything's complete. Do you know how much I love you? I put your favorite song on just to wake you up. When I dance around, I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I watch you as you drive.